What's up guys, Ramses here with Let's Argue Smash Edition, where I take all of your hot takes, controversial opinions, or anything else that you have decided to tweet online. And I am going to be discussing them, arguing with them, agreeing with them, etc. Let's get into your first hot take. Final Destination should not be a starter. I actually agree with this one. I think Final Destination is one of the most polarizing stages in the game. We play a platform fighter. There's only one stage on the stage list that has 0 platforms, and it changes the way we play the game so very much. The difference between playing on Battlefield and playing on Final Destination is actually quite extreme, and I believe that because of the presence of platforms on stages like Battlefield, Pokemon Stadium, even Kalos, where they're further off to the sides, definitely shows more overlap versus a stage that has no platforms at all. That said, I don't believe starters should be a thing in the first place. I believe we should just do full list stage striking, where you strike through every stage on the list from the first set to kind of remove the arbitrary definition of starter stage, counterpick stage, neutral stage, whatever, because I don't think there's much reason to make a starter list. Like, theoretically, you would get the most neutral starting stage every single game, but the only way you can really accomplish that is by striking from the entire stage list. There's nothing really stopping us from doing that. It's less complicated in terms of rules. I think it's like a stupid concept at this point, honestly, but yeah, if we do have starters, Final Destination, definitely not a candidate. Neutral doesn't exist. A character always has the upper hand over the other in a match, positioning, percent, etc. So there's no true neutral state between the two players. This one is entirely true. Like, don't even need to think about this one. Neutral does not exist. There is no true neutral. The only true neutral is when you play a Ditto and the match starts. You get true neutral for 1 frame, or in other words, until you both input different actions, and then it starts to be disjointed if you look at it from a purist sense. But we do not define neutral as a way to say, oh, it's perfectly even. We look at neutral as a game state in which no character has a significant upper hand, and by classifying the games in these concepts, we improve our understanding and we make it easier for ourselves to react to situations. Of course, there's a balance. Do you want to oversimplify the games in these concepts and kind of lose the nuance, or do you look at every situation individually but get overwhelmed by information? That's kind of the sweet spot that you gotta be looking for. Something that is both very descriptive of what the situation you're in, and that's gonna help you make a good decision without allowing for so much detail and granularity that it becomes overwhelming. Squirtle stops here even without Ivysaur and Charizard. If he was a solo character, mains would put in 3 times the work and opponents would put in 3 times the matchup grind, and I still feel the mains would get more out of it. They'd be playing all the better until they're killed. I think this is definitely not true. As someone who has main Pokemon Trainer and played him primarily for Squirtle, definitely not solo viable. Definitely not a top tier either. I don't even think Pokemon Trainer as a character is a top tier. I think they're like the higher end of high tier, but no way they're in top tier. I think they have like at least 10 losing matchups. And Squirtle, I mean, Squirtle is way too light to really be a balanced or like consistent character. If we look at the other super light characters that are viable, like Game & Watch and Pichu, they compensate with a lot of kill tools. Like, if you play versus Pichu, you might kill her at 50, but she can also kill you at 50. The same kind of goes for Game & Watch, down smash, forward smash, you're lit up, you're dead, and Squirtle just does not have that. Squirtle has a very consistent and strong neutral, a good charge projectile and water gun, good ground moves, good air moves, but that killing weakness, very significant, and his up B is actually super exploitable. His offstage is not the greatest. His offstage is kind of carried by being able to switch to Ivysaur. His advantage state, a lot of the same there. You kind of want to switch to Ivysaur and kind of carry on from there. I do know Squirtle does have the best neutral, but that does not a top tier make. Wolf has problems killing. It really takes a Wolf main to say something silly like this. Wolf has problems killing? Oh, this character has a back air that kills you at 60, a dash tag that can kill, a down smash to 2-frame you with, so many options. I mean, honestly, yes, he does not have a kill setup in neutral, but his advantage state leads into kills very well. When you are on the ledge versus Wolf, you can die as soon as 60% on a jump read, and then for the ground options, he can cover all of them with a well-timed and spaced forward tilt, which makes it very hard to get off the ledge. On top of that, He has a lot of horizontal control with his laser, with his dash attack, and that forces you to jump, which he can capitalize on very well. And then if you stay on the ground, he can lead you to the ledge and then get the kill there. Usually around 120, 130, it's pretty consistent. He has a lot of extra stuff as well, like forward smash, can really call out a shield, force you to do something out of shield, go from there. He can set up a tech shade with neutral air. He can combo into his back air extremely early with the right setup as well. And finally, he has the hurt box shift on his up smash, which really helps him set up kills very well too. So yes, he doesn't kill directly very well, but his entire game plan leads into pretty early kills, and if you don't respect one of his kill options, then simply by throwing it out, he can get a KO like that, which really forces the opponent to limit themselves, and by limiting themselves, they put themselves in bad situations, and that is where Wolf finds even more kills. The CSS might be the best character in the game. She literally has it all. Good range, amazing movement and recovery mix-ups, tools for pretty much every situation, sick punishes, arguably best disadvantage, etc. I think her only downside is being tall compared with her low weight. I actually think Zero Suit has more downsides. I think one of her downsides is that she has a low average damage per hit. She's an advantage-based character with a relatively bad advantage state if we compare it to, for example, a sword character. If you look at like Shulk or Lucina, they also have relatively low damage per hit, but when they do have you in advantage state, they usually get a lot out of it. Zero Suit, not so much. Zero Suit is more of a hit and run type of character, where she gets a small hit in neutral, then gets a small reward out of it, tries to get a bigger reward, has to get a read for that usually, and then if she doesn't, she kind of resets to neutral. So it's very read based. It's also why you often hear Mars say Zero Suit sucks. At least that's my interpretation, is that because she requires the player to be so on point all the time if you want to get appropriate reward out of her hits. I don't think her KO power is that stellar. I think she does have KO power if she gets the read, but then she needs to get the reads first, which is just a little bit too inconsistent for a character to be anywhere near the best character in the game. On top of that, in my opinion, she has quite a few losing matchups. I think she loses to the Rats, I think she loses to Shulk, I think she loses to Chrom and Roy as well, and some others. So all in all, would definitely not agree with Zero Suit being anywhere close to the best character in the game. I don't even think she's in like the toppest of top tier, which I do think is occupied by Peach, Shulk, Palutena, Wario, Joker, and Pikachu. Those 6 characters, in my opinion, are pretty much undoubtedly the best 6 in the game, and then afterwards you get like the normal top tier, which might include Zero Suit. I'm not so sure myself, but I don't think she's anywhere near the top 6 characters in the game. Online results should be taken more seriously. Some say it's disregarded because you can't react, but the truth is you can't react as quickly. All this means is to develop another gameplay and get around it. Some will also complain about the input delay, but just because you can't adapt to some input delay doesn't mean you can't win. Wins and losses shouldn't be taken seriously. The proof of this is behind the entire theory of adaptation itself. Why aren't top players offline ranked in the same spot online? Simply because they haven't adapted. I'm not saying online and offline are different, I'm just saying there's no actual reason to discredit online. Would also go as far as to say there should be an official Wi-Fi PGR in part of the competitive play. Well, this sure is an opinion. I have to say I definitely think you're capping here. This is not it. Yeah, so when we talk about gameplay, we try to achieve consistency, especially at the top level, and a lot of consistency is achieved through reaction-based gameplay. That entire concept goes out the window. Yes, online could be taken seriously, but it should be taken seriously separately from offline. That also means that online results should not have any influence on how strong a player is offline in terms of the public opinion. And then the question is, should you even take an entirely different game seriously? Yes, Smash Online is still Smash, but is it really though? I mean, to be honest, I think it really changes a lot of the matchups, it changes a lot of the game plan. Like you mentioned, you have to adapt, and to this degree, it is basically a different game, and as such, for offline, power rankings should never be taken seriously, and in the public eye, someone who's strong on Wi-Fi is exactly that, someone who's strong on Wi-Fi, and that does not necessarily translate to offline gameplay. So as you can tell by the video title, this was part 1. I will be doing 2 more parts because there was such an overwhelming response to the original tweet. If you enjoy this type of content, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, and maybe even share it around. It really does help me out a lot. If you want to join in on a conversation or find me on other social media, the links are down below in the description. For now, this is going to be all, but stay tuned for episode 2 is going to be dropping very soon. And of course, stay smart.